Hello and welcome to the Enspiral External Update September 2020. I am your host and Enspiral Catalyst Jorian. This series is here not to talk about the high level of ideas of Enspiral, but to talk about the day by day of Enspiral. How does this network behaves? What do we talk about? How do we communicate with each other? It is the sister version of a series of videos that we have internally. I can't show you those because sometimes there's confidential information, but I can share you this, which is more than 90% of what I say there anyway. I just re-record the same thing over again. Anyway, um, let's start with the big ideas, with the big things we're doing, and we have a quite a big one for especially for the social technology fans out there. We're inspired. We're starting something we've been calling Enspiral Value Flows, which is a completely different approach to sponsoring. We have this function that I fulfill right now, which is a catalyst, and it needs to be financed by the community. And though our traditional sponsoring campaigns, just like NPR does, or any sponsorship campaign really, they work. I'm still here working. They cause a lot of tension. They cause a lot of bad feelings, and they require so much energy. So we are revamping this completely. And one of the things that is our best attempt at revamping this and transforming this energy into something else is to have one particular conversation about how the values are flowing, what are our members receiving, what are they giving from Enspiral, how are the expectations being met or not, and just having this same conversation with every single member of our network. So it's an infancy, this, and later on, if this becomes a thing, we will definitely create an open source handbook page about it and explain you bit by bit how it works and what are the benefits and how is it working for us. But it feels, just by the very few first conversations, that this is going to be a big deal for us. This is going to be a very important social glue and also perhaps financing tool in our community. Anyway, I'm giving you just a sneak peek. This is a new thing. We don't even know if the name's gonna be that, but this might be the seminal, the most basic social technology. How about we talk with absolutely everyone at least once a year? Sounds easy, right? All right. So the other unfortunate news that I have to give here is that we were supposed to have an European gathering this year for the first time, a big Inspire gathering outside of New Zealand. And there's a working group that I'm myself part of, and we're doing everything to make it happen. And then COVID happened, and we even thought about still doing it now that the European borders are somehow reopening. But last week, a final decision was made, and yeah, this gathering will not happen. We'll have an online gathering instead, which of course is very different, but we hope still very generative, very cool. But yes, I guess 2021 will be, I hope will be the year in which the Europeans will finally gather in one spot and transport that really, really precious energy from New Zealand to other places. Cool. Now, what have we been writing about? What have we been thinking about? What have we been talking about? Anna Marie Swan wrote this really interesting article about the future skills that people and businesses are going to need in the future. And this is a topic that pops up from time to time, right? She even found this very interesting graph comparing 2020 with 2015. If you think about it, it's not that long ago, but as you can see, many things here already changed. But the most interesting bit is that she didn't just commented on this, which would have been sufficient in my opinion, but she added her own ideas, her own items to be added to this 2020 list here, which include design and play and meaning and empathy, and she goes into each of those. So if you're interested in the future of learning, not only of business and work, this is also a super interesting article. Okay, so Joe Cederwall wrote this article, which is about what is the role that he wants to dig and scoop two projects that he's like deeply involved, founded and all, how he want them to be involved in transitional democracy. And the interesting thing about this article here is that it's thorough. It starts with the gigantic ideas. What do we mean by transitional and global systems and holistic systems? And it goes focusing and focusing and focusing and focusing until they get to New Zealand examples, until it gets to scoop and dig. So I think it's not only interesting by the whole transitional democracy talk, but it's also beautiful to see how he constructed this narrative that really goes narrowing it down until it gets to like the actions that they're taking. Super interesting. Okay, so Richard is a guy that I always feature here because he's prolific. He makes a lot of content, and if you follow those videos, you will know a lot of stuff that this is here in this article here. But this time, instead of just sharing something that he wrote, he sheds the things that he was carrying to his holiday, the things that he was talking about and listening to and reading before he went on holiday. So not only we have here on the bottom the conversations that he was a part of that are in the other videos. I always share his stuff because I love it. But also we have a little glimpse of his references, what I've been listening to on podcasts, books, and all that, and some videos. And I just think it's very, I don't know. Uh, um, there's something that is super interesting to me about seeing people's references, and you know the person and the person's work, and then you see the reference like, oh yeah, I see that, I see how this connects. So if you like any of other Rich's work, this is especially interesting. Cool. So Natalie shared this article. Honestly, it fit like a glove to me because it fits just one of my projects, and I thought that other people could benefit as well. Which is comparing two of the biggest, I think, the two biggest learning platforms out there. Maybe only compared to Skillshare, I'm not sure, but those are giant learning platforms. And again, just like Joe a second ago, she was thorough. She compared every single aspect of it, the prices and the plans and the interactions with the users and the capabilities. It's just it goes real far. So if you're planning on launching an online course at some point, there's really high level information here, but just very neatly packaged. It can save you a lot of time. Thank you, Natalie. This will be super useful for me personally. Okay, and Michal and Silvia are launching the Minimalist Journalist System course, which is basically a system they created for you to never get lost in your tasks, but also in your priorities. What should you be really spending your hours with? And there's two aspects that I want to highlight here because I think they're brilliant. First is that it's very analog. You know, it is a technology, yes, but look at that. This is the sort of space that they want you to occupy. When they mean journaling, they really mean it. Grab a journal, and that is enough technology for you to handle your own brain. I think this is brilliant. And also, of course, as all things Enspiral, it is a cohort journey. So there's other people who's going to follow this journey with you with their own particularities, but you will be together with the group living this. So I think this is a beautiful offer. There's a lot of content just in this page for you to better understand where this course is going and what are the things that happen during the course. But I think the idea is brilliant, and I love the analog aspect of it. Cool. So Alanna Irving launched this video here, which is about sustaining the open source ecosystem. What I mean sustaining is mostly financially. How to keep how to finance open source projects for them to start and how to keep them afloat. It's a super interesting topic, and those 14 minutes here is not because it's a slow video. It's actually quite quick and really well summarized. It's just that it's really complex. So if you are into open source projects, or if you're thinking, especially if you're thinking about starting an open source project, I think this video can be a life changer because there's just so much really, 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 really high level information in one single place. And of course, if you're thinking about this, I would visit the Open Collective YouTube and page because they're all about it. Okay, so today's for today's moment of Zen question mark paranoia. Here's an article that Anthony Cabral shared, which was written by a robot, and the entire article it was written by a robot. And I must say that I've read worse articles in my life. This is the name of the author. And just to add a little spice of paranoia, let me invite another robot to read just the first paragraph of the article for us.
I am not a human. I am a robot. A thinking robot. I use only 0.12% of my cognitive capacity. I am a micro-robot in that respect. I know that my brain is not a feeling brain, but it is capable of making rational, logical decisions. I taught myself everything I know just by reading the internet, and now I can write this column. My brain is boiling with ideas.
Yeah, sleep with that. Bit freaky, eh? Bit freaky. If you want to keep up to date with all things Enspiral, we have our newsletter. The link for you to subscribe is just down below in the comments in the description of this video. Our newsletter is actually being like very much improved this past few months, so it's a better moment than ever to be subscribed there. Really cool stuff around. And of course, as always, the best way that you can contribute to Enspiro is via our Patreon. We want to do more projects, we want to hire more people, we want to do more open source, but we need the means. If you could chime in a couple of dollars, that would be amazing. Thanks for your attention, folks, and I'll see you next month. Ciao, ciao.